Hey, Chael, Glenn Bell. Am I not excited enough about Henry Cejudo? Let me tell you why I ask. I see him breaking down fights. He does it with such confidence, such authority, such assurity, and not fights of the local high school kids down the street, but the fight of arguably the greatest of all time, Islam Makhachev. His shoulder's out of position. He's making a lot of mistakes, rookie things. The fight of arguably the greatest of all time, Alexander Volkanovski. He should use more leg kicks. To me, he's super beatable. Now, Jon Jones is back. Maybe he's the GOAT. Maybe Cejudo's not connected to the... Oh, but that's right. He helped train Jon Jones. Jon, don't get caught in a position. Make sure you move. So, to Henry Cejudo, either the GOAT is making rookie mistakes, he's super beatable, or he's helping to train him. I saw Merab fight. Merab used some type of iron lung technique, looked just about unbeatable. Not the Triple C. He doesn't say, well, it's going to be a good fight, but here's where we match up, and this is why I think I can beat him. No, Triple C says, I'm 10 times Merab. He's my easiest fight. Easiest fight and Merab doesn't go together to me. Volkanovski and super beatable doesn't go together to me, but it does to Triple C. And then I think about who he is. He's not a sports analyst who's good at breaking down fights, but has never fought. No, he's a double gold medalist. He beat DJ, TJ, Marias, Dominic Cruz, and then said, enough. You guys bore me. I'm done. Am I not excited enough about Henry Cejudo? Is the real GOAT actually coming soon? The real GOAT with the crown, Triple C, maybe quadruple C at that point? Am I just yet to see the actual GOAT of the octagon, Chael? Or does Henry Cejudo rewind the tape over and over and over and over again and take advantage of that well-known couple with 20-0 vision, Mr. and Mrs. Hindsight?
Glenn Bell, great to hear from you, buddy. Love the t-shirt as usual. All right. So you said a lot of things there. And let me begin with saying what I think you're asking. I think you're asking me, is Henry potentially the greatest of all time? Is Henry as good as Henry claims he is? Should we be excited for the return of the great? I think. Am I there? And yes is your answer. Henry started this Triple C thing, and he's cringy, and he says a lot of things, but he's sometimes breaks away from that and just gives a good analysis. Turns out he's a really good coach. We've known all along that he is an expert, has an expert mind for the sport, but how he chooses to relay that to us, if it's with showmanship or if it's just very straight the way that he would directly speak to one of his athletes in the gym. Okay. What is hard about Henry and Aljo, don't forget, Henry just retired. This was not very long ago. UFC 246. This just happened. Put in perspective for you, how well is Justin Gaethje doing? Has time passed? Because Justin Gaethje was on the same card. He fought the same night. He was up next in that order. But it is very surprising to see how few of people Aljo and Henry have both fought. I mean, here they were passing through the sport, passing through a division on the upper echelons together at the same time, even if that is a couple of years removed. I can't think of, I haven't got to research this, Glenn, but I can't think of a common opponent. It is very baffling that the top guys of right now, Corey Sandhagen comes to mind, Sugar Sean comes to mind, Aljo comes to mind, not only never fought, they were never even in discussions to fight Henry Cejudo. On the other side of the coin, as great as Henry looked, let's talk about some title fights. Dominic Cruz. Let's talk about Demetrius Johnson. How could we forget about Marlon? 2 of the 3 aren't even in the organization anymore, right? We don't have a lot of common opponents. Peter Yan just wasn't one of the guys that got on the radar back then. And it's been of recent and absent of Cejudo that Peter Yan got to those top parts. Merab, Henry watched Merab. I watched Henry's response to it. He said that it was easy. He's 10 times Merab. Now, I think if you're talking about pure wrestling or pure wrestling accomplishments, There's a level of truth. But when you have a guy like Merab who has weaponized pace, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to tell you what it is ahead of time, then he's going to just keep doing it. And that's like what Mike Tyson with the uppercuts, right? Everybody knew it was coming, but if that didn't help them, that worked against them. Henry seems to think he can deal with the problem. I mean, who are we to question at this point? World champion, both in MMA, different weight classes, Olympic champion. Don't forget that was at a different weight class. He's the triple C without even doing the cringe. Olympic champion, world champion, right? I mean, he might be the greatest combat athlete of all time. If you had a son and a genie popped out of a bottle, right? You know that silly game? But you could give your child the career, the athletic career of anybody in the UFC. You're going to give him the career of Henry Cejudo. Of course you are. You would want him to be the Olympic champion, want him to win the UFC and then win it in a different division, then take a couple of years off and come back right into a world title fight that a lot of people think he's going to win. I would have been very comfortable telling you back around 246 time, if Aljo would have become a number one contender and get thrown in there with Henry, I'd have been very comfortable telling you who's going to win the fight. It would have been Henry. There would have been some strength issues that just came with some maturity. There'd be some real good reason that I could tell you that. Sterling is so damn much better than I knew that he was. And I knew he was good. But he is so much better than I knew that he was. His movements, his condition. I remember Peter Yan, part 1. And to tell you an accurate narrative that I saw come out of Sterling and Peter Yan, part 1, I could not do. I did not agree with anything anybody was saying. And one of the narratives was how tired Sterling was getting. That he took that knee because he was fatigued. I don't see him getting tired. I mean, that's the same ability that Henry has. It's that same footwork. It's that same speed. It's the same ability to mix things up. And I'm just sharing for you. MMA math, people love to tell you it doesn't work. MMA math works all the time. It's not perfect. There's a reason we put them in the octagon and we hold the match, but it works all the time. It is a wonderful reference point. It is a wonderful jumping off point. And off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody that they both competed with. Even though it was the same time and Henry's goodbye wasn't that long ago, it's a whole new crop, right? It's a whole new crop of guys. So where do they go, and can Henry come in, and can he step in, and can he defeat everybody? I mean, listen, a very similar situation is being put on Jon Jones, to the fact that we're hearing that Jon Jones' next fight might be his last fight, with the reasoning being Stipe is the last of his time. Is that a reason to go? Because according to Henry, it's not. According to Henry, it's a reason to return, to show these young pups that the old dog is still the best. There's not anybody in the top 10, and again, I'm not looking, so if I'm missing one, but nobody in the top 10 at 135 pounds that I can think of that ever matched up with Henry. I mean, he's coming in from a different time. He is quite literally going to ask the question, are the guys of today better than they were in my day? And the guy that thinks his day was better, which is everybody, always gets proven wrong. The new guys are always better than the ones of yesteryear. Always. But the ones of yesteryear weren't Olympic champion, UFC champion again. It's a different deal. It's a hard match, Glenn Bell. Should you be excited? You're damn right you should be excited. Do I happen to know the outcome of this match? No, I don't.